Hey guys, it's Melissa. Thank you so much for joining me for today's episode. We are in our What's Your Type Enneagram series, and today we're joined by a good friend of mine, Jenn Eskridge. She's an incredible Type 8, and we're going to talk about what it looks like to live as a Type 8. So Jenn, thank you so much for joining us for today. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and answering our obvious question, what's your type?
Hi, my name is Jenn Eskridge. I work for the Visalia Rescue Mission. I live in Three Rivers with my wonderful family. I have two little kids, Jade and Sawyer, and I am a Type 8.
So Jenn, thank you so much just for chatting with us today. You and I have been friends for a really long time, and we kind of have had a very similar Enneagram journey. We've kind of walked through this together with both of us mistyping. So if you wouldn't mind maybe sharing a little bit of your experience with the Enneagram, what that has looked like for you figuring out yourself as a Type 8. Yeah, what's been your process?
I originally felt like I was a Type 3. And as I was thinking about this morning, I still feel like sometimes I really want to press into that, convince myself, no, I am a Type 3. And I'm not at all. But yeah, I did. I really felt like I had this performance tendency. And not to say that I don't in any way, shape, or form, but I think obviously it comes down to motivations and some other things we can get into later. But yeah, I definitely mistyped for a good 2 years as a Type 3.
I love it so much. Yes, we have kind of had a very similar journey with mistyping, with you being an 8, me being a 3. We can actually look kind of similar to each other, unfortunately, when we're healthy, when we're unhealthy. And I kind of want to dive more into that. Obviously, we're coming out of this pandemic. We're actually still kind of in it. And so it's been a couple years of really immense stress, which I think really brings out our true personalities. So I would love to hear for you, Jenn, as a Type 8, how have you seen your personality come out, your strengths, weaknesses, what you look like when you're under stress? And what does it look like for you, both pre-COVID and now being in this COVID season of life? How have you seen your strengths and weaknesses coming out?
I think when I look through my whole life, and I look at, some childhood tendencies and, young adult tendencies, and then, professional tendencies, parenting tendencies, and really learning about, the Enneagram. I think the best way that I can, describe that is sort of the reactiveness versus responsiveness. And so, obviously, really, which is what is so great about the Enneagram. I think when you're learning about the different, things, and I think that this is really where I mistyped so much, because the things about the 3 made me feel like, oh, well, I respond better as a 3. And it was the stuff about the 8 that made me react, because it was the stuff that I didn't like, right? And so it was like, no, there's no way that I'm an 8. There's no way that I could be that person, because it was it was so true and real and raw about myself. And so as I look through my life and I think about and of course I'm talking about stress, because let's face it, life is stressful. I think that is really where, with COVID, I had to sit with a lot of those true things and say, I can't react this way anymore. And I need to really dig into why I'm reacting this way and find ways to respond. And it was really when I got to the heart of some of those issues. And I joke, of course, that when I found out, I remember I called you, I think, and I was like, I think I'm having an identity crisis. And I say that, then I was a 3, and I realized wow, no, there's a lot of growth, I think, that comes from recognizing the reasons as to why I was feeling the way that I did, towards issues, in COVID, the things that were really getting me riled up, or the things that I really couldn't handle and I needed to retreat. or the things that I was just so completely apathetic towards. Like, it was just such a range of emotions and things that like I didn't, want to deal with. And then I really had to sit with those things and choose to, walk through them, or some things I haven't really walked through yet, I don't think.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think all of us are really living out of our stress, kind of in the unhealthy parts of our numbers. And I think for both threes and eights, that can look super, super unhealthy.
That's exactly it is. It's like, I think we're constantly in this reaction. Like, I have to act on this. I'm going to do this. I am quick to make decisions that are not always the best decisions. I can be faced with an issue and immediately, instinctively just be like, this is what we need to do. This is where we need to go. This is how we're going to handle it. This is how it's going to change. This is how, we can make forward action here. We can save the world there. I have the answer. I can do this. But within that, then you're bearing the weight of so much stuff that maybe you were never meant to carry. And that is like the whole thing about us moving. Again, that really came out of so much stress. Our choice to move there came out of, really such a dark time, I think, for me. And I am so grateful for it, because it was such a forced choice to slow down. And people always say like, oh my gosh, that drive, how do you do that? And it has been the most grace-filled time of my life, because I am surrounded by the creation of God that is so slow. Nature takes its time. It is never quick. It doesn't make, swift change. You watch the flowers start to grow, then they bud, then they, bloom, then they fade, then new ones come up, and they go through the same routine. And it's in this beautiful symphony of life. And to watch all of that, it's been exactly a year today that we moved there. And so to watch all of that unfold throughout a year, and to just feel God's presence every single day, walking us through this time, while every decision that I feel like I've been making is exactly that, is it's like, you don't have to carry these burdens that really are not yours to carry. And it's okay to slow down, and it's okay to say no, and it's okay to focus only on one thing. And that is such a hard, when you want to seek justice or change. I mean, let's face it, like, there's so much going on that I could choose to get so worked up over and frustrated about. And I do, but it's to choose to focus on one area. And that is a daily choice. That's a daily battle, like, for me to just put the chill mode on and focus on one, thing, because there are other people with beautiful God-given talents and abilities that are doing the other work, that I don't have to make decisions on, and I don't have to pick that up and carry it, and really that's hard, because we want to help, and it's healthy to help as an 8, but you have to know the right ways to do so. Yeah, with the right boundaries.
I want to point this out in you. I feel like you have done such an amazing job about acknowledging what is yours to do and what is not yours to do, and how you've really taken ownership of this role at Visalia Rescue Mission, which obviously is a huge, huge need in our community and in every community worldwide. Homelessness is a huge, huge part of every community. Homelessness, addiction, I mean, so much. There's just so much need for addressing those issues right now. And I love seeing you coming out in your best and your strengths being used in this environment at work. It's just so cool. But I want to say also, I think it's so important as 8s to acknowledge, like, hey, I have a lot of things I care about, and it can be really draining, and that's okay to feel that. So Jenn, I just want to say thank you just for, again, sharing some of that with vulnerability. Would you mind sharing maybe some of the things that God has given you to help you to move forward in health and wholeness? What are some of the tools that you've used in the last year to help you grow?
Therapy. Absolutely. Number one thing is put your mental health first. And I wish in all of my being that my, of course, read your Bible, pray, but like, I'm a human being living and operating in a world that is full of forces of darkness. Like, it is a battle of the mind. And I needed a mind doctor. I needed to process externally with somebody who was going to be gentle and kind and listen and was on the outside. No biases, no, there, you can process with your friends. I can process with my husband. I can, read all of the books, because as an 8, my stress thing is the resource hoarder of all being. And I am constantly ordering Amazon books to fix every single thing in my life. My husband will tell you, but that is not going to solve anything. And so, I had to get a good counselor, and that was a saving grace for me. Medication too. Like, when I was really, really, really down through the pandemic and experiencing a lot of anxiety, I got on some great anti-anxiety medication. I really did. I think that we need to speak more to those types of things, Melissa, like you do. And so I just, want to thank you for being one of those types of people. But I do want to share that was something that, I did. I wish that I could tell you that, I eat healthy and drink my water and exercise all the time. I don't, because I'm super stressed a lot. My life is busy, but those are all really good things for, whole mind and body wellness. But like, I think the thing is it looks different for every single person. And those were some things that I really needed at the time. Again, this is probably going on, to a year and a half, 2 years ago, that I really felt like, wow, I really need to seek out some external things. And, and it gets better. And, you don't have to take maybe as much medication, or you don't go to your counselor as much. But I always keep those, especially my counselor, close to me, because I always like to process out. And, that was so helpful for me in healing, to walk back through, things that come up even, as a kid, that I'm like, man, I need to work through that, things that, I get frustrated about so easily, that I don't need to get frustrated about, things that I try to constantly control. And because as an 8, that's a huge thing, is this constant need for control. I think it's because you are always feeling like everything outside of you is out of control. And so you're trying to just do everything you can to control things. So those are some things that I have done to, seek wellness. And then, is just keep those people, close to you that, are safe. And, you don't have to share all the things with all the people. I think that's probably my biggest lesson, is that, my life is mine. It's okay for me to say no, and I don't have to give a reason why. And it's okay for me to make decisions, and I don't have to back that up. It's okay for me to, put myself first, and just be okay with that, because that's what it is,
Thank you so much just for being so honest and vulnerable with this. I know therapy and medication is a thing that we don't always want to talk about, but as you said, it's a big part of my healing journey. And kind of the way I like to think about it is, if we want to be healthy, right, it's almost like there's unhealthy, healthy, and like above healthy. And I feel like for us to be able just to get to a general baseline, we sometimes need help, right? Sometimes we need therapy, sometimes we need medication to get to that healthy baseline. So it's not easy, but when you take time to heal and take care of yourself, it really benefits not just you, but your family, your friends, the church, and the world at large. So I'm just so thankful for you taking the time to do this. Obviously, the show is also called Faith, Hope, Love. We've talked a little bit about some spiritual practices in some of the other episodes, but would you maybe share some of the things that God has done in you, things that you've done that have helped you to really grow in your faith?
There are times in our lives, and there are times in our faith where there is doubt. And I walked through one of the most doubt-filled seasons of my life last year. And every single day, I feel like as I get to know myself even more, and as I get to know, in Genesis 1:27, it says that he created us in his image and in his likeness, and knowing so much that he created, man and women to walk in relationship with him and to have this, sense of communication, intimate, joy-filled communication. And he didn't desire separation from that. I think I delight so much in knowing that where my doubt is, it has or was at the time, and having to really walk through that wall or put, down the wall with him, knowing that he was always in that dark space. He knew that time in my life, and to let down, that wall with God more so than other people, where I think it's easy for us sometimes, to have some sort of worldly separation and not really recognize that, like, no, God knows that too. Like, he knows that the time is there, and he knows that he has purpose in that. And then to just walk through that and just feel so filled with hope, for the renewing of my faith from that, right? And then to feel from all of those really hard things, the ways that I am better able to love myself and feel more filled to, and I know maybe that sounds a little bit selfish, but there was just a time where I had to take care of me. And then so because of that, and because of the ways that I feel like God is showing me how much he loves even those super dark things in me, how much I can love people better. And I feel like I can then serve out of that overflow, instead of out of depletion, which is where I operated from for so long.
I just love that you're sharing that. I think that's a big issue that a lot of us face, that we kind of give so much, but we don't ever take time to take care of ourselves. There's a verse I think about, it's in, I want to say in the first chapter of Psalms, where it's talking about a tree planted by the water and how it grows and it flourishes. And it's the same thing with us, right? If we are not rooted near God, making sure that we are being fed, making sure that we have water, ultimately our tree, we will die, we will either burn out, or we just won't bear good fruit. And so I just really think about that in just practical ways, taking care of ourselves, making sure that we're spending time consistently with God, doing things that enrich our soil, whether that's being with Christian believers, spending time resting. I think for 3s and 8s especially, rest is super hard. But I love that you have incorporated those things in your life in the last year especially. And I've seen just tremendous growth in you, I think, because of that. And so I just want to say thank you again for being vulnerable on that. If you have anything else, maybe before we close, maybe a tip for a type 8, as well as a tip for someone who loves a type 8.
Okay, so somebody who loves an 8, I have to go with that first. Trust is such a huge thing for an 8, right? And I think it is so easy to think that we're being like, super, how do I say this, rigid or aggressive with, oh, well, you broke my trust, or, I do this with my husband, and it's like such silly things. Like, when you said you were going to do that and you didn't do it, and I think that what I want people to understand, or what I think is so much the more important thing is that it's not, yes, it's trust. And yes, it may seem aggressive or better for me as assertive, is that it's really a desire to care for and love those that we are devoted to, and that we are just so very devoted to those that we love. And so rather than, thinking maybe we are not forgiving or, hold grudges, I think there's some stigmas around, 8s being deeply, holding grudges or things like that. I think we just love so fiercely, that it comes off across as aggressive or unforgiving, but I think it really truly comes from this desire to deeply care and love for those that are close to us.
What tips would you give to someone who is a type 8? What would you encourage them to do?
Well, everything is just an opportunity to learn, and don't get caught up in the, oh man, am I speaking to myself right now? I get so easily frustrated and I think roadblocked. I think I get caught in the roadblocks because I see what can happen in 10 years. And it's okay to just take one little thing at a time and mobilize the people that are around you that know more than you do. They do. They know more than you do, or they may have a better ability than you do, or, listen easier. Don't get defensive. Like I said, I'm speaking to myself. It's okay to listen. And while your 10-year plan is precious, keep it with God and pray over it. And then put those people around you that you can, trust completely, to show you and work with you to collaborate. Eighth love, I think that to collaborate with people that have that same common mindset of, getting the ball rolling towards that goal. So, but just take it as a learning opportunity. Just because something may get in the way to that 10-year thing, it isn't a failure. It isn't a stop point. It's not going to stop you from getting there. Keep going. Just take it as a learning opportunity. Things happen, life happens, and it's still you're still gonna get there. That dream is still special. So just keep going.
I just love everything that you said. I feel like there's not much that I can add. I really just want to say that Jenn, I have loved seeing in you this growth and this maturing and living into your personality in a way that you are not only able to delegate tasks, but you're able to equip and inspire other people to live in the fullness of their gifts. And it's so cool seeing that come out with you, especially at the rescue mission and also at home with your kids, being able to see you parent them and really help them to mature. They're young like mine, and I think that's something that if you and I can both get a handle on how to do that well, man, that has the potential to really impact the world. And I think it's so cool when eights like yourself are growing and taking care of themselves so that we can really be passionate and move the world forward in health and in unity. It's so cool, again, seeing how God has moved and transformed your life in the last few years. And gosh, I'm just so proud of you. And for all the eights that are listening, keep going, keep working on yourself, keep taking care of yourself. Make sure you let people in to be in your inner circle, but also allow yourself to have some healthy boundaries too. It's a balance, absolutely. But I wholeheartedly believe God has incredible things that he wants to do through you eights, because you have the power and the desire, the passion to do incredible things. And I think it's just when we can lean into him, get our fuel from him, that's when you're going to be able to do what God has created you to do. Jenn, I just love it. Thank you so much for chatting with me. If you wouldn't mind maybe sharing how we can follow you, like Facebook, Instagram, website, how can we do that?
I think the best way, first and foremost, I would love for you guys to follow the VRM Hope Instagram and Facebook page. There's a lot that needs to be done within our Central Valley community. And so definitely keep tabs there. I do have, personal social media accounts. So if you want to add me, Jenn Eskridge, or my Instagram is Messy Blessed Mama. I do keep things private because I do have my kiddos, but if you send me a friend request, and maybe just an instant, or what is called direct message that, you watched me here, I'll be glad to add you. I just, like to keep my kiddos, close to me. But yeah, definitely check out what's going on at the Visalia Rescue Mission. There are some amazing people within here, and they would love to share what's going on there. And so watch those stories.
I love that so much. Thank you again, Jenn, so much for just hanging out with us and sharing what it looks like to be an 8, the good, the bad, the ugly sometimes. I know I shared that on my episode about the 3, but I think it's so, so beautiful when we can look at the difficult parts of our lives, as well as the strengths, the ways that God has blessed and created us, and just being able to look at our potential, I think is so, so powerful. So 8s, if you're watching, I'm excited for what God is going to do in your life, in you and through you. And if you love an 8, I encourage you, just continue listening to them, be trustworthy, love on those 8s in your life. They will be the most loyal and passionate friends that you will ever have. So thank you again, Jenn, just for doing this with me. And for those that are watching, join me back here next week. We're going to be talking about the Type 9. It's going to be really incredible, the peacemaker, and I'm so excited for that. So I'll see you back here next week.